Man, let it go, bitch. Man, let it go, bitch. Man, let it go, bitch. Yeah, I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did with my soul, bitch. I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did. Oh, man, let it go, bitch. Man, let it go, bitch. Man, let it go, bitch. Man, let it go. Yeah, I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did with my soul, bitch. I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did. Oh, flights. Your little part of that flying around, you know I can actually float. I was the one making slaves in the colonists getting right back on the boat. Flights. That y'all block to the right and the pop make it hot cause I'm about to start cooking more. Yeah. I was the shit that's all over America, stuff that the setup was looking for. Yeah. I'm on the ground, I came from the sky and the pillars to witness a wooden storm. On the east coast to the northwest territory, you can pick a tour. Just make sure that you meet with the medicine man. Whenever you fall, I let you to stand. Life will be stressed like a wave when the deck and you still just complain about weddings and plans. Yeah. Bitch, I'm yellow iron oxide. You were just eating some oxtail, while I was watching from a hawk's eye. The job I be doing get done in full, and you only be doing it part-time. Michael Jackson stole that shit from a war crime. DoelowDaPilotman flying on every day, look in the skies, the Great Plains. They found me all over the Great Lakes. They found me all over the Great Plains. They following all of the great phases. That's where they set up the state base. Flight boss, bitch, I came like a ghost, was ready to go. I made it go, bitch. Made it go, bitch. Made it go, bitch. Made it go, bitch. Yeah, I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did with my soul, bitch. I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did. Oh, I made it go, bitch. Made it go, bitch. Made it go, bitch. Made it go. Yeah, I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did with my soul, bitch. I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did. Oh, I got the hottest time. Everything got touched, turn it on. It's like I got the hottest time. Everything got touched, turn it on. It's like I DoelowDaPilotman, bitch. You motherfuckers just cold workers. Viral comics sent me up the sea if I wanna just play as a gold surfer. You was just high acting crazy, bro. Yeah. What shit going on in your cranium? Yeah. You was just claiming as much as the LSD. No, I'ma say it's uranium. No, I ain't playing no sports when I'm passing on rock up the side of the stadium. You just came in acting like Arcadians. Put your ass back in the cave again. The Pilotman back on the plane again. Stop worrying about who I made it with. Everything you probably thought of, I already thought of because I created it. All of my music remind you of shit that's gonna take you right back to a cold time. When you just listen to so reminiscent like stumbling over a gold mine. This shit you be thinking and think I be thinking that all of y'all thinking with no mind. Looking at me is like facing the sun and this is why you so blind. I made out of gold, bitch. Made out of gold, bitch. Made out of gold, bitch. Made out of gold.
Oh, we in space now.
I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did with my soul, bitch. I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did. Oh, I made out of gold, bitch. Made out of gold, bitch. Made out of gold, bitch. Made out of gold. Yeah, I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did with my soul, bitch. I was the one that was creating everything. Look what I did. Oh,
No, for that. Instant deodorant candle. Instant sand deodorant stick. I got off my living room table that I bought from a Hebrew Israelite last month. That was what that was, YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's what that was, YouTube. We're gonna talk about some full moon energies and stuff. Like good full moon energies so people can understand what's going on. First, we got to break down where the moon at right now. Virgo, you can't tell me nothing about. Can't tell Virgo or Gemini either. Just right now, definitely. I don't even use definitely. Definitely can't tell me nothing about no Virgo energy. Don't even try. I don't care if you was born around that time, late October, late August. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere in the middle of September or something. Like, it don't matter. But anything that was made, conducted out of that sun transit pocket, and then it played out on Earth, and then only that time of the year, no other time, you was born in that pocket. Shit, ain't about to tell. I know you more than you. And I'm an Aries. Welcome to Aries season. So we created astrology. Yeah, we're going to talk about the full moon energy. We're going to talk about my Earth sign, where the moon get ready to be full at and stuff like that, where you might need to understand some balance and fairness, but filter through where the sun is at. And this what makes things a hard time when we get to the alignment of a disagreeable energy between the mother and the father, aka the moon and a planetcon ruler, aka the sun, however the case may be. Now, for the most part, when they're having opposites, 180-degree angle, we may experience some disruption or frustration of how to bring things together to a certain degree, yet still focused on things that look like it's in our common interest or our best interest. So it's something that's going to steer us in that direction, but we just have to make sure we don't make it a head-on collision or a tug-of-war match. And we can create that fairness and balance where we understand what part we got and what part is a necessity of the other attribute, and how we can bring these things together that one got what the other don't got. Other than that, it's going to be a competition, because two trying to play the same role, going in the same direction, that they have totally different attributes of going about it. So that happens internally and it happens externally, and this is how we have AM to PM, or daytime and evening, or goddamn Aries and goddamn Libra. You see what I'm saying? Or the Falcon or Raven. Took our land. Because these animals at this time, you see it. You see the otter during Aquarius time and stuff like that. You know, you see salmon, we go fishing and stuff like that during summertime and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff. You gotta get mama bear, the honey gets stung by bees. I don't know when the last time I actually realized a whole bunch of bee nests. Like, what happened? Is bees becoming extinct? You know what I'm saying? They becoming foreign after a while. Like, wait a minute. I remember when I was a kid, it was a lot more possibilities to get stung by a bee. As I got older, the possibilities got less and less. You see one or two bees, and the bees be like GMO synthetic. They be like big old something else. They don't even be actual bees. So you like got to think, like, what happened? What's happening in everybody's habitat? And all of that. We don't want to get into that. We don't want to talk about nothing. No, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody having don't matter if you a parasite, bacteria, animal, goddamn human. Motherfuckers' territory's getting took. Oh, I'm saying, motherfuckers' habitat's getting played with. God don't like that. God don't like that. God don't like that. When humans gonna learn that? When humans gonna learn God don't like when people's habitat get messed up? We barely, everything, all of it is synthetic honey in Walmart. You got no good bees, good nectar quality abilities, military bee soldiers and stuff like that, good, sufficient mama bee queen and stuff like that, good organic honey, shit, don't even exist. Last time it exists, maybe in the 1960s. That was the last time. That's when stuff got very vague. That was before I was born. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Leave people's habitats alone. Leave people's habitats alone. Jesus Christ. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? We all in this world together. But like I said, right? Even when we get into square energies and stuff like that, right? We may experience frustrations. That's like the sun and the moon. Pardon me, y'all. The sun and the moon making a 90-degree angle amongst each other, right? So that causes minor frustrations. It still play out like same energies of we're steered in the same direction, or we're trying to play the same role, but we got totally different attributes of going about it. So that's even looking at it from the modality perspective, right? Opposite signs still share the same modality, and square signs share the same modality. So when we get into, let's say for an example right now, it's the sun being in Aries, as the moon going to Libra, that's opposite. But the square energies will be if the moon was in Cancer or if the moon was in Capricorn, and then vice versa for all those particular signs. And then you could go into the fixed signs, which would be, pardon me, y'all, Aquarius, Scorpio, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You know what I'm saying? Here's a Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, and Taurus. And then you got the mutable signs and things of that nature, which we're getting ready to describe right now as the lead up to what to get prepared for as we get into if you're fulfilled or unfulfilled into the energy sector where the moon get ready to go. So we got to break down the moon being in Virgo also right now too, as these are things y'all supposed to be keeping up with anyway. As the moon waxing, that's when it's fulling up. As the moon waning, that's when it's draining. And for the most part, when you see things beyond you playing out a certain nature, and you can see these natures is entwined with part of the reason you even here. And if they was to go out of sync or out of order, you got possibilities of not being in control, of not getting rid of, and things of that nature. Then for the most part, these are things in nature that you may not look at, because we don't make these things important, as something to play by, as a characteristics. So as the moon is waning, you're supposed to be playing some waning characteristic. As the moon is waxing, you're supposed to be playing some waxing characteristic. Now, what does that actually mean to put that down in reality, right? We know things that's light become dense and become heavy or form as far as velocity, volume, and mass. So you can even see these traits play out as a cloud becoming water when it condensed from light, and as your mind condense and become blood flow and adrenaline and motivation. So you know that's being more in order. So for the most part, when you look at you adding or emanating awareness, that's you trying to expand a thought and it condense into a feeling and emotion that could go beyond you, and people could experience your expression even if your physical ain't even in that arena, because you're creating environments and atmospheres or whatever the case may be, because you're training to become an Atmos DAP or yeah Atmos DA. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's next after a human. The holy be amongst the holy ones if you're on the right path or whatever the case may be. So for the most part, that lets you know you're fulfilling something. You created something that your body getting ready to follow. Your spirit create the mind, so your spirit follow it. But you might get confused between you. You know what I'm saying? Then your mind makes the body, and your body follows your mind. But then you may get confused between the two and get narcissistic, or think you can do things that's just really in your mind and get lost or over exaggerate about stuff. How we kind of see 98% of the world as far as the social norms is conducted in, or whatever the case. But for the most part, that's you fulfilling a pocket. So that's you acting out the internal expression that's going to play out externally as we see the phases externally also. So you'll start to see when you direct these things towards the things that you are busy with within your life and your biases, you'll start to see these things play out more favorably on an in sync and relatable energy where you're not harming yourself or others on a high percentage scale, and it's something creative that can help yourself and others on a higher percentage scale. Anytime you're not seeing it and you're out of order, it's going to play out in reverse, where you end up getting frustrated, end up not knowing that this is the thing to pay attention to, get more distracted with the low vibrational physical representations of it, lose your mind within it because you're not in order, and lose your spirit within your mind because you're not in order. And then for the most part, now you're frustrated and putting energy into the wrong things. And now it becomes on the negative side, things not going in your favor. And you having to use the same energy that could have went in your favor for the things that's not going in your favor. Now you having to play catch up. Now you're behind and things of that nature. So you see what I'm saying? So there's a time to relax, moon waning, and the signs that it's going through. That's going to tell you how to relax. And it may be harder to relax than other times because it may be a moon cycle that's going through a waning phase that may square you at a 90-degree angle based upon your sun, moon, and ascendant, or may oppose you, or in conjunct at a 150-degree angle, or oppose you at a 180-degree angle. So you may still have to practice something, but it ain't everybody's, the stars don't align all the time. So that's that challenge. And if you know how to still search for the main goal and not allow the challenge to redirect your path, allow external influences to redirect what you're going through internally, then for the most part, then you know how to meet challenges at a better, more adult type of awareness. Therefore, you will always be of value because you will always be some type, even if it ain't things tangible, you will always be a representation for someone else who need a crutch. And we're all in the world together where we create things and we're creative. So there's always going to be a substantiated way where you get something that cater to your bias and you also help someone else that gave something to their bias. So for the most part, it's a each one teach one that goes beyond what, you know, what Walt Disney may have structured us on. And now you're only for those things and those limited accesses of intelligence to get it. And a lot of times you think you're doing things intelligent when you do get these things, but you're in a whole world of fraudulent intelligence. So for the most part, you're just an intelligent negative person, or you just know how to get over, or you're just a manipulative individual. But for the most part, you don't get away with these things when it comes to our internal world. And these are the things that people don't talk about. These are the things that people don't boast about, especially a person who might got their way and they put themselves in a position that they can look down amongst their family, friends, associates, or co-workers, or their cult members, or however the case may be. It's a lot of things that they don't talk about. The more that they could get the badge or the ego, the more that is things internally and behind closed doors when they by themselves that they got in the box. It always has to even itself out. Whatever you think you're doing externally, got a matching quality to it internally, and everything play out reverse in the spirit world. So we always have to check ourselves. Get your T-Steam game up. We get ready to get real spiritual because we getting in. These are the actual energies that makes us spiritual. It makes you separate from the physical natures, get you more into your first body, your mind, and then your mind can understand it ain't the spirit, it ain't the soul. Now you know how to decipher you ain't your mind, you ain't your thoughts and feelings. These is your creations, and sometimes you get lost in your creations because it's yours. So you could say it's you, but it's your dwellings, it's your makings, it's your building. It's your foundation. It's what you in. It's what you living in. It's your esoteric household or whatever. And these are things you're supposed to keep clean. But when you become these things, it's like you a Beavis and Butthead in the spiritual world. You become that goddamn family Wednesday family. What's that movie called? I forget. The Addams Family House. You end up having an Addams Family House or whatever. So you become the spider web. You know what I'm saying? You become the cereal box. You become this kind of energy where, once you rooted in your ways, you can't change. And you might be going through a phase in your life where it's an essential for you to change and adjust your kind of circumstance so you could get the full benefit and reap the benefit out of that circumstance. A lot of times y'all own worst enemy without knowing it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be your own worst enemy. But for the most part, as the moon is waning, that lets you know it's things you need to relax on. It's things you may need to chill on. And let's say the moon is waning at the moment in Aries. That'll be the time to relax on forms of independence. If you are Aries and things of that nature, that's that conjunction. The energy is in the same time or the same space in the sky that made the energy of you or whatever the case. So that could be a frustrating place because it could be a time where you're supposed to relax independence, but that's your energy to be independent. So it may be frustrating to ask for help during that particular time, but that'll be the best thing to do at that time. And that's how you learn your particular lesson. Then it'll go into Taurus and then it'll go in however the cycle is, but we get ready to get on track right now as the moon waxing before it start to wane, and it's going to wane after it leaves Libra or whatever once it's at that peak point, right? So we're talking about reaching peaks and distances and stuff. This is how we even understand when the sun is in the position of Taurus, right? And Beaver, instead of the position of Falcon, Aries, or whatever the case may be, the energy and the allegories we give that sun all the way down to, we call that the Venus sun too, or the bright star, because you got the morning star, bright star, and the falling star. Morning star is just before it rises. That's the 12th house when the sun is in Pisces. Then it becomes 6 a.m. in the morning, from that 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Right? Then you got the bright star. That's the Taurus sun, or 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning. Then you got the falling star, Libra time, or from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. or whatever, when the sun starts to transition or whatever. Right? But just being in these pockets, we call that 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and that 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Those energies and that only distance and positions, we only see it at that time. So we call that the Venus sun. You see what I'm saying? So based on that distance, this is how we calculate how Venus, the satellite thingy, can only be so far away, but it ain't got nothing to do with that. But for the most part, this is why that comes up with a concept of how Mercury can only be that far away from the sun, Venus, because it's all about the sun. It ain't about no other actual. You see what I'm saying? So don't get lost into tracking how we track the medicine wheel. It's that same concept. But you might get lost into some other type of stuff, and then this where you think you're getting ready to hit the lottery, or you ain't got no other choice but to explain it through forms of divination. And that's when you have separated from the spirituality of it and the agriculture of it and got lost into somebody's rhetoric trying to colonize it or something like that. But other than that, here's the thing, right? When we get into the moon being in this energy, it's waxing. So anytime the moon is waxing, how it actually is supposed to play out is you putting that thought form in, right? So as the moon is in Virgo, you're supposed to be reacting, responding the development of mutable earth, being mutable and being able to adapt to your own and other people's ways of thinking and being practical. Now it's going to look like the sun being in Aries. So that's how it has to be filtered. So it has to be filtered through some independence or with some form of passion, some form of motivation. And if you don't do it in that aspect or individually, it's going to play out as alternative motive or something you have to compete with or something that's negative or something that's become a challenge for you, right? That you have to fight through. Or something trying to fight with you through it or whatever. Whether it's an object that you're using and it's not working as well as it was working before because you're too antsy of using it or however the case, right? But that's how it has to look. So it has to look like we're trying to adjust to our own and other people's ways of thinking and being practical. But we have to do it through the forms of independence or individually or whatever. So this is even when you have to look at things you have to work on, but you may have been leaning and dependent on external representations or other people and things of that nature. And this is a time that is supposed to show you, find a pocket in there that you can handle that individually. Find a pocket in there that you can handle that personally or independently. Or this is what's creating more problems because you're trying to lean and depend on some external attribute. And the sun is in Aries right now. It's not trying to teach us that. So when it's coming to the moon is the world we in. But the way we have to go about it is the sun. And the way the sun is making the season look or whatever the case may be, you might not pay attention to all the nuance, but that has everything to do with it. And y'all always say that these don't have anything to do with even how we come up with the narratives about characteristics before we even tie it to a person's personal traits. Talking about the zodiac wheel. We're talking about characteristics that's playing out that we don't see no other time of the year. And if you are part of that time of the year, here's how we can kind of buckle down and get to the essential stage of breaking down a characteristic where it can make sense in reality and not just be used for divination and other type things based upon systems we get into. Like you might be in something that Walt Disney taught us, like you play football. So it's say, oh, if you this type of sign, then it's gonna work well for, and then now you're institution. You see what I'm saying? Now you're it's colonized a little bit, but it ain't the natural nature of it. So it'll lead people into dichotomies, into thinking that, oh, just because I'm the same zodiac sign as someone, that don't mean we the same type of person. Yeah, we know that. We know that. You're not saying nothing that nobody else never thought of before. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. Trust me. When people start talking like that, then they start talking about 13 signs and stuff like that. They not talking about nothing nobody never thought of before. They get institutionalized after a while, especially when they start talking about that 13 and a few kids. Anything 13 is institutionalized. You need to know that too. Anything 13 is institutionalized. Anytime we start talking about eight fear past 7 and 13 past 12, institutionalized. We ain't gonna never have no 13 o'clock on the clock though. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. We ain't gonna never have no 13 houses in the zodiac. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Ain't no out of sync living in life. Ain't no out of sync circle. That just, it don't even make sense in math, let alone it's all a retardation or something like that. But when we come to the filling up, you're supposed to be adding the energy of the moon being in Virgo. So for the most part, that's like reacting and responding to your own and other people's ways of thinking and being practical, work, health, routine, scheduling, doing things on a day-to-day basis as far as your tasks, taking care of your responsibilities. And if you haven't been doing these things, you might start seeing these things all crash on you at one time. You know what I'm saying? If it come to bills, if it come to other circumstances, any mechanic, any type of engineering, any type of creative thing that you was doing or whatever, there may have been things that was on a small scale that may have not springboard into a bigger problem. But for the most part, if it has anything to do with that Virgo or that sixth house in the sky energy or whatever the case may be, right now it's gonna usher back up, and whatever it started off is going to be a bigger problem, and it might all crash down at one time if you wasn't taking care of these things, as far as always supposed to be in some type of involvement in accessing the houses and doing these things when the time being. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you haven't been taking care of your responsibilities and you know that it's something that had to been taken care of, but it was like small, so it wasn't really important, it's going to become important during this particular time. Worry energy is going to play out, and it always play out in things not paying attention to at the moment, because everybody always lost into their biases or their dichotomies. But when you know how to separate from those things, you know that energy filtered through a lot of different areas. And if you're able to separate yourself, you're able to always keep track of how that energy may possibly play out before it just hits you in the butt when you ain't even ready for it or whatever the case may be. And then you busy trying to take care of something else, but then all these other things is crashing down on you at one time. That's how things play out when the moon is waxing, especially when it gets into Virgo and stuff like that. And when the sun is in Aries, it's going to be a lot of things that you probably was already in a comfort zone because you was getting assistance on, that is going to separate you from. And it's going to force you to be more invested into learning how to take care of that independently in some way, shape, or form, or as an individual, show more of your individual, and if you don't, you're going to be forced through even anger to develop what Aries is trying to teach you to have anyway, some form of passion and motivation. So whatever made you mad, next time, you got to do something independently anyway. You won't be mad. All that anger and aggression could get transmuted into you're passionately invested into what you could do, or what you have to do, or whatever the case may be. Now, as the moon start to transition into Libra, right now it's going to be full. So it's going to, anytime the moon is full, it has this energy of, are you fulfilled or unfulfilled? And it's going to be filtered through the sign and the modality. So what you're going to start to pay attention to see if you're fulfilled or unfulfilled about is things that deal with the seventh house pocket in the sky. So that's qualities of like cardinal air, Libra, or whatever the case may be, Raven, or balancing, or scale, or justice or injustice, or cardinal air, initiate and create new ways of how to think and communicate, right? So that leads into how we network, our relationships, and what's fair to us or what's not fair, and are we willing to combat to get to fairness in some way, shape, or form, or fight some form of injustice, whether it's internally or externally. And every now and then you may slide out of things that ain't got nothing to do with you. and choose to take the fight of someone else's personal fight or whatever. And sometimes, and you know, Aries and Libra sometimes have those problems. But at the same time, this is how things could play out when it comes to this energy now. So you might start to second question or start to over invest if they match more of what you're trying to independently do or your same goals when it comes to your passions and motivations. These may be relationships or networks that you start to be more passionate about and start to develop more of that independence around, so there's no outsiders that can influence it in some type of negative way, or however the case may be, so y'all can stay on task. Or this may be a time that you start to separate from individuals due to the fact of now you're starting to realize they don't match your independence or your where you're independently going, that you can connect with them too, or having that passion and motivation for the right things that you're individually invested in too, or that you involved in. So you might start recalibrating what kind of relationships that you're in at the moment, and does they match what you're passionately into. And this is how you're going to start looking at family, friends, associates, coworkers, or even your job to a certain degree. And you're going to look at it through the filtering, pardon me, you're going to look at it through the filtering system of, is it fulfilling you or not? You know what I'm saying? Is this friendship fulfilling you? And it's going to be on the ground basis or is this job fulfilling you? Or is this relationship fulfilling you? And it's going to be on the ground basis of things that you start to calculate that's based on independence or individuality. You might even look at a relationship, a certain job, and start looking at it like it's separating you from your individual expression or what you independently want to do or whatever, or it's actually wasting more time, or it's actually being more of a burden in your life than something that you want to invest yourself in. So these is a lot of qualities. People are in search for what they truly independently want to do. That's the time that we're going through right now when the sun is in Aries. What do you independently want to do? What match you individual wise or whatever? And you're going to start looking at everybody or everything that you deal with around you through that filtering system. And any small increment of making you feel like you may have to attack something or readjust something, that's that Libra kicking in, forms of injustice or forms of imbalance. And you may start to realize that you was getting the short end of a stick, or you was giving more of your energy to something. And it's not that same passion. It's not that same motivation, whether that's a person, place, or thing, or a job. And then you're going to start to look at these things like maybe you need to compete, or maybe you need to separate, or maybe it's becoming a challenge for you. And depending on how you are, and if you're on the right side of the universe or whatever the case may be, you're already setting yourself up because the moon is in Virgo, right? Or and then the moon, before the moon was in Virgo, it was in Leo. So you was already expressing certain things, be able to set the stage to see what was going on. You already know what you was already supposed to be taking responsibility for as the moon in Virgo, and knowing what to work on, and knowing what to separate from, and knowing what to deal with when it comes to your responsibilities or your health or whatever. So now these supposed to be the only things that filter through people, places, and things, or your friends, co-workers, or associates. These supposed to be the only things that you're creating conversation with. So it should play out as more fairness and balance at this time. Now, if you're on the wrong side of the universe, this means you're catching up. This means when the moon was in Leo, the moon was in Cancer, you gave your emotions and your care to the wrong things, not to the right things. So that didn't play it out wrong. So now it blew up in your face as the moon went in Leo. And now you set the stage for an expression of something that you were supposed to be giving care to that you wasn't or whatever. Now you have to worry about that or take responsibility for that as the moon being in Virgo and as the moon being in Libra. Now you're going to need some assistance. You're going to need something to lean on. And this is when the sun is in Aries, is going to show you, you got to learn how to do that independently. You got to learn how to do that as an individual. Can't lean and depend on nobody. You got to speak for yourself. Don't speak for nobody else. Don't say no us, we, or nothing, whatever the case may be. And you even need to find how, is even if it is a large percentage scale of other involvement, you still need to find how it's still your fault for being in that situation in the first place. And I don't care how small the percentage scale it is. You know what I'm saying? Take that small percentage scale and make sure it's a grain of salt next time, and you'll never do it again. So everything is justified when it comes to moral space or whatever the case may be. And that's what Aries teaches everybody, that on the highest level. Independence from a internal space where I'm going to say the average, but another individual may have certain things that they think is overwhelming internally that the Aries is supposed to look at as childlike. Not the Aries being childish. That's where y'all got things wrong. You know what I'm saying? And then they got it all the way to Pisces the oldest, but that don't make no sense. In all reality, it don't matter what reality you in. Whoever was born first, the oldest. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna find no. So you can't, even if you believe in Christianity and you think that son is Jesus Christ's son or whatever the case may be. All right, that son was here before you then. I don't care how you slice it. Whoever was born first, the oldest. And that don't make sense to say y'all thinking about it the wrong, like sci-fi picture or something like that. So it's just a bunch of people who was weak emotionally and didn't want people bullying their emotions in some type of way, who was at a starting point of coming up with an allegory. And then that mind state, that person got into astrology and then learned what astrology was, and just so happened to start adding traits to their own insecurities or whatever the case may be. But you will never see no baby being a loner by themselves or whatever the case may be, and you'll never see somebody being born first out of a sibling group and then somehow being the youngest because of some spooky allegory or whatever the case may be that they lost things. You know what I'm saying? So do understand that. So this is how you actually understand Aries. It's not Aries being childlike. It's Aries looking at what a person who got into astrology that may have had emotional insecurities, right? Since Aries deals with these things internally, we feel like everyone else should deal with that internally. So if you got an emotion that you holding on to that may be negative, you childish. So if I don't react to it because you're an adult, and I don't react to it like I'm trying to baby feed you, and I'm trying to I'm trying to Drake you right now and stuff like that, and make you the victim of everything or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't trying to baby feed, you know what I'm saying? Do you think the Aries is childish, or the Aries don't understand everybody else's emotions? No, we understand it more than you, which is why we don't express it, because we know how crazy you look. You know what I'm saying? When you expressing it, and we don't want to look that crazy or whatever. So we actually became an adult in that world before you. We floated in that world, seen how we would look, seen how you would look, and challenged ourselves to never look like that. So it's like it's like taking that feeling, looking at it like Abaddon, and locking it inside of some cage next to your bowels physically, and the mind states you created when your spirit was there, those men and women and buildings and cities and stuff like that. So it's like that area that made the organs too. You lock them men and women up. All them thoughts and feelings that come from that dude Abaddon or something. It's like that. That's how you look at it. That's how you got to look at it. So not specifically Abaddon though, but for people who are into Christianity, and a lot of people speak English right now. So these are things you could kind of look to as a reference that kind of point you into like an esoteric way that I bring you back into reality to help you understand how to bring it from the esoteric and its reality too. But these things ain't one of the two. Because y'all know how y'all get lost into like good cop, bad cop, left, right, science, Satan, you know what I'm saying? Realism, theism, Joaquin, Boaz, you know what I'm saying? These is like structures when someone don't know how to do something. Like all things esoteric is things that everybody already doing, and a lot of y'all do it better than everybody who explaining it. You just don't got the way to explain that's what you doing too. And then when you hear these words and stuff like that, you're hearing it from people who are crippled in these worlds. So they need to steal from other people's cultures. So it's not natural now. It's in a book, or it's in a Bible, or it's in an esoteric book, or it's in a Madame Blavatsky book. These are people learning from people who are doing things naturally that you don't even need a name for. So once people start creating names for it, they're trying to create a mathematical way to go about it. And this is why y'all got dick pills now, stuff like that. Because it's just from them grouping of people who think like that, who don't know how to do a backflip naturally. So they made a book. You do a backflip if you do this yoga 90-degree angle. And if you do this, you will go into the Dharma world. And you go into the pineal gland. And this is someone who never been in the pineal gland, who never did anything. And the best thing they did was them and their family probably capitalized off of something. The end. They never experienced it themselves. And they still got two left feet. So you gotta understand that. The things you pay thousands of dollars to learn are things you do better than these people. It's just not told to you that way. Like when somebody say, yeah, you need to get into the spiritual vibe You have to understand these esoteric things and esoteric pillars. These people copying you. You already know how to dance. You already know how to sing. You already know how to draw. You already know how to. So whatever they're trying to do is going to come to the outcome of, I wish I knew how to dance. I wish my dick was bigger. Y'all, it ain't gonna come to nothing else. So y'all be getting over exaggerated by people who are crippled, like the Robert Greene mentality. I seen somebody go to war. I ain't really go through it, but I'm about to make a lot of money off about somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Y'all be missing the point. These be things everybody you already know how to get out your feelings. You already know how to think that if somebody need help, okay, I'm on the left pillar right now and I go to the right pillar. That's someone who got emotional problems. Everybody know how to get out their thoughts and feelings. That person was a church shooter. You know what I'm saying? Whoever came up with all that person was a school shooter. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at it like that. These people are crippled. So they self-project. They create things that mean cripple. You need a book. You crippled. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, all these things are spring from insecurities. But once you understand you're just dealing with humans and animals and species and parasites, I mean, what else can a person be talking about? Unless you just get ready to get lost by yourself. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, when we talk about the moon filling up, this is the only spiritual esoteric thing you even need to know. This the only way somebody even want to copy you or try to stop you about anything. You ain't got to say a word about no esoteric about nothing because you already doing God's work yourself. You know what I'm saying? Whatever somebody making up, you already did it. You already made your spine and skull. You already did it. Don't go backwards. You get ready to become Atmos DAP. Don't get lost by other lost people. But for the most part, this is how you become a creator. You're creative. So people have to mimic it, or people have to be like, this interesting, and come up with whatever they talking about, whatever the case. But it's just a mechanism. It's a natural thing. It ain't no thing people have to make up. Somebody make up a book about my characteristics about something like that. But understand, the author of that book, they're crippled. They wasn't someone getting as many bitches as me. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand it like that. Robert Greene don't get more bitches than me. You see what I'm saying? You got to get it. You got to understand it like that. Before, if you don't get it like that, I ain't nobody to tell you lost in foggy man land. Anybody can tell you anything, sell you any hope or dream. And all your gifts is in a backseat that God already gave you. You got all that gold in your own esoteric backseat God gave you. You scared to look at your backseat and stuff like that. Because somebody done taught you looking in the rearview mirror and going back to old friends or something. Like you lost. Or, you know what I'm saying? You got lost on TV. You got lost on TV and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta get a life, man. Don't get too Harry Pottered out. But for the most part, like I said, as the moon going to Libra, this is what's going to create balance. Right? Now, you might be like this Harry Potter or whatever the case may be. All right, let's take all the spookiness out of it, right? Go outside right now, and I guarantee, even in the morning, I guarantee the sun and the moon is at opposite directions. You ain't gonna never see that no other time. So, I mean, whether you care to get into the nuances of it or not, that's your fault. You lack knowledge in life. But you ain't about to go outside and see it no other way, and you damn sure ain't about to tell me a human did that. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me. So this must be something part of life. So I'm acting out accordingly of life. If I see something greater than me, I ain't the sun or moon. I'm just a piece of it. So if I see some opposite in the sky, then I need to know how that play out in all reality. That ain't even got nothing to do with it, because things that's in reality is smaller than that too, just like me. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, there's an opposite trait that plays out even through my day-to-day life, even through my relationships, even through my circumstances, and even through my internal uphill battles and downhill battles, or whatever the case may be. So what's better to learn from but what's already doing that outside of me that I ain't had nothing to do with? See what I'm saying? Or I had a piece of, but I'm just a small piece of it. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, am I going to listen to another retarded human that's going to leave me in jail? Or I'm going to go ahead and go a little broader than that and get inspired by something like that? And for the most part, every time I do things, like even get into an examples like this, acting out those characteristics always play out as them characteristics beyond any other characteristic or a smaller thing within it, like a human is getting ready to create and try to convince me about. And I don't care about it, because I guarantee I get more bitches than you too. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, it doesn't matter at some point. It's like, I don't be hearing what people be talking about. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go with God. When you go with God, it ain't nothing else, or whatever the case may be. You most ugly person in the world, you have a beautiful spirit. Because somebody will be attracted. For example, let's say the full moon getting ready to go to Libra right now. You already acting out these energies, right? Somebody will be attracted to you because you got some characteristic that's creating. They don't know what's going on, but you got this sense of whatever they got going on could be more fair, could be more balanced, could be more structured, and you could be the opposite end of something that they don't got. And if you ugly or whatever, like you could use those energies to attract your best relationship right now. Biggie Smalls had a lot of, you know what I'm saying? She better look. You know what I'm saying? Wealth and a great person were real good right now. You know what I'm saying? But you better look, you know what I'm saying? Ha! Got it. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Don't let life joke on you. You joke on life. That's how you ride around or float around on the spaceship and stuff like that. You riding energies. You just don't know the energies. But now you got your next door, you know what I'm saying, spiritual homeboy. Now you know that's what you was doing anyway. You just ain't look at it like a form of importance, and you use that energy to give it to things that was important, that you're going, the more spiritually, more adult you become, the more you start to realize it was petty. Giving all that attention to that bullshit. Yeah. No, I was giving all that attention to that bull crap, that homie cheese, homie slice, that wet duck, man. No, I'm saying. With her sweaty melted taco meat. Whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? You might be in some situation where you start to realize you wasted a whole lot of time on a bunch of nothing. And you're supposed to be no thing. Not switch up in all these different forms and stuff. Don't be none of these things. Be in and out, in and out. You got stuck in this problem, stuck in this person's emotional reaction about something, stuck in how this person see you or something like that, stuck in with this person that dumped a responsibility onto you about, hey, you ain't got time for all that. You start living for things that ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me. And that's what the moon is teaching us right now too, as it starts to fulfill up in Libra. You know what I'm saying? There's things that you might need to start to etch out, because the very same things that you think was creating fairness and balance is why you feel unfair, why you feel like things unfair, why you feel like things unbalanced, why you feel like more of your check got to go towards the bill that week, more of your energy got to go towards steering the relationship in the right direction, more of your energy got to make sure everybody is doing the right thing. Why everybody else got their own mind and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? That's when you're going to start to compare and contrast and start to realize, like, oh, okay, there's something that I have to leave this person be, because whatever I'm doing to think everything gonna be evened out is causing me to feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick. And this person gonna have to learn some form of independence by me separating myself so I can get myself together with my little form of independence or whatever. And you might even be in some energy like that during this time where you feel like you have to teach another individual by separating your help. And by you saying that I got to do something alone, or whatever the case may be. And then you're forcing them to do something alone, because whatever that they wasn't doing alone was kind of being a burden on you. It was on your back. And these could be anything. These could be mind states. These could be certain relationship bonds. You know how we create those relationship bonds with our friends, family, associates, and coworkers and things of that nature, where it's the fluff. So it's certain fluffs we give importance to that in one or the other person, as far as the participants, it get outdated. Man, that's no longer a fluff I care about no more. And that fluff may be attached to that person's feeling or how they see you, that generally made the relationship cool in the first place, or at least at the level to make stuff feel like it ain't no animosity that could be developed in the future or whatever the case may be. And that's a tough battle to fight. You know, not laughing at the joke your friend or the coworker said 10,000 times last week. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough battle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's only so long you can put on a fake smile. Like, start feeling like you gonna cry after a while. It'll be a smile. Start looking like sadness. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you just like, man, I just wanted to be cool, so like I could clock out the same way. You know what I'm saying? The same way last week or whatever the case. It get hard after a while. You like, man, shut up. You know what I'm saying? After a while, you be like, man, did you just say that last week? You know what I'm saying? You be wanting to say that, so because you be convinced. You be thinking like, wait a minute. I think they don't remember they told me this before. You know what I'm saying? You be having to convince yourself. Nah, man, they know they just love telling the same thing, because you got the gullible face in the eardrum. You got the gullible eczema in the left eardrum, so you always look like you ears open and stuff like that. Of course, they ain't got no talent. They got nothing going on in their life. That's the only thing that happened in their life when their grandma whooped them before they went to church in 7th graders. That's the only. So of course that's the only thing. You don't even want to look like you excited to hear it. And that's when you know it's time to start being real. You know what I'm saying? You tired your eardrums being sweat off. You start paying attention. Like, wait a minute. They don't always say the same story on this person and stuff like that. How come when I'm off of work and I come to work, everybody say this person was quiet that day or something like, why would I come? They get ready to talk my eardrums off. I'm telling you. Nah, they know very well what they said last week. You just feel like you look like the one that's happy to hear it again. until you start being real, whatever the case may be. You might have to go through that time as a full moon in Libra. You might be fed up and unfulfilled. You might be fulfilled at the time. You might be fulfilled with that conversation. You might be like fed up and like, and cuss them out very gently and nicely and poetically, like Libras do and stuff. Libra cuss you out very poetically. You know what I'm saying? Very, very artistic and stuff like that. Sometimes you might not even know you're getting cussed out by a Libra or something like. It'd be so sarcastic, filtered through poetry, filtered through something you might like, filtered through you thought they was talking to you, not to get you. You thought they was laughing with you, not at you. It's like it's slick. Aquarius got that. They got that gift too. The only one that ain't got that gift that's an air sign is Geminis. They be all over the place. They tell themselves and stuff like that. They just be all over the place. They don't know how to hold it down. It's mutable. Aquarius can hold it down, and Libras is cardinal. So if they steer it in that direction, they can do that. They can do that. You know what I'm saying? So they like, yeah, the Gemini sometimes just cuss you out because they want you to think, to switch up and thought that you thought something else. But they was the only ones who thought something else because they the only ones like 2 or 3 different people. You know what I'm saying? With the Aquarius, very know who they is. The Libras know who they is. So that sometimes they cuss you out very poetically, very artistic in some type of way. You would think that they was laughing with you, and you would think that they talking to you, joking on someone else y'all know or something like that. It's like all about you. It's like all about you. Like whole time laughing at you, whole time to joke about you. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You laughing, just giggling with them, talking about they right. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch them Aquarius and Libras. They know how to do that. Real slick, real slick. They'd be right in your face. You'll be laughing, giggling, thinking y'all talking about one of y'all family members or friends or not. They talking about you. And you could count on someone else being around that know y'all that's cool with y'all too. That's on the inside joke with the Libra too. They just got like some inside connection, friendship quality. You know what I'm saying? Like, this cat's got that type of quality, you know what I'm saying, where people automatically on their side for some reason, automatically on the inside jokes with them for some reason. You know what I'm saying? So that's one kind of gift Libras got. Aquarius got that gift too. Geminis don't care. They just say it. And sometimes they don't even like when that go too far. They be like, man, is y'all inside joking? You know what I'm saying? Gemini's all over the place in their mind. They don't care, they'll hold it down sometimes. And then sometimes that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't need to be like that all the time. We need that person around to spot out when someone being too sarcastic, because you know how to be sarcastic better than everybody, which is why you fail all the time at being sarcastic. You just sat and studied sarcasm so much, you can't do it, but you can spot out everybody else when they doing it. And stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that ain't that about a bitch for you damn Geminis. That's fucked up. Real shit. But for the most part, all y'all about to be charged up. You know what I'm saying? But y'all gonna have to filter it through some fire. You know what I'm saying? Because the moon get ready to be full in Libra. So all air signs get ready to be charged up as thinking that they know something better than other people or whatever. But if you ain't too airheaded and you got a little passion with it or intentiveness with it, like it's intentional, it ain't just no stuff that's because you got to pay attention to intention when you're dealing with fire. Air signs don't got intentions all the time. It's always just, hey, I'm just throwing a thought out. Hey, I'm just making you think. You know, all this kind of weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? What was your intentions behind that or whatever? This why a lot of times other signs, such as us fire signs and water signs, look at air signs as two-faced sometimes, even when y'all ain't being two-faced. It be that quality. We sometimes the hood person don't know how to explain it. That's why I'm here for y'all, stuff like that. It be because these cats don't be having no intent behind 90% of the stuff they do. You know what I'm saying? Just be like just going with the flow. Which way did he go? I'm in the air. You know what I'm saying? It be that a lot of times. So a lot of times us fire and water signs, we be needing to see the intent. What's your intent? And when they don't got one to give us, and it's just another thought. Or it's just another that's when we start calling y'all two-faced and stuff, or something going on, or you untrustworthy or something like that. But a lot of times it be playing out in situations even when y'all really not really being not trustworthy, or when y'all not being two-faced or whatever the case may be. Sometimes the fire sign may misjudge. Sometimes the water sign may misjudge. The earth sign understand y'all a little better. You know what I'm saying? But every now and then we might get it wrong, or whatever the case may be. But that's what y'all need to learn. That's air signs. Sometimes it ain't cool to even think or say anything if it ain't no intent behind it anyway. It was just thinking about everything and saying everything, or just that ain't always cool. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes having intent, or it ain't no point of even thinking of that. And y'all will waste a whole day thinking about something, and then it'll reach the end of the day and you will start questioning yourself. What was my point of even having that on my mind? It was like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you didn't waste your whole, and sometimes it be just y'all dealing with yourselves. Nobody around y'all be knowing. Y'all know how to like play two people real good. be thinking about one thing and still be heavy participants in everything going throughout your family, friends, and throughout the day as being the air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. But every now and then, and I'm trying to tell y'all, that's the problem. It don't be like, man, my mind is all over the place. Maybe it's because I'm an air sign. No, it's because the thought you was on ain't have a ground. It ain't have a ledge. Y'all be falling in the abyss before anybody, before any other sign, before the fire sign, water sign, earth sign, and the earth sign be already at the bottom of the abyss. So sometimes they got to learn how to lighten up. But y'all already be falling down the abyss and stuff like that because y'all be having no intent. So every now and then, y'all get in that comfort zone, not knowing that this was going on, cling on to a thought that didn't have no intent, and every now and then, it'll start filtering out through the people, places, and things y'all know. And then y'all be having to check yourselves like, man, that's a thought I came up with. And I don't even know where I even got that thought from. Yeah, there wasn't no intent behind it. So y'all gotta learn how to find a tip behind y'all shit sometimes. Y'all be cool, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all be all over the place. That's what gets y'all in trouble to y'all mouths, especially Geminis. Y'all say things and don't have the intent behind it. And then for the most part, the signs y'all be dealing with be having intent, especially if you got around a fire sign or a water sign. You around a Cancer or somebody, yeah, they got intent. You're around Aries, you around me, yeah, I got intent. So I think that was intentional or whatever. You might be just trying to throw something out there, whatever the case. You might have a problem on your hands the rest of the day and stuff. In your mind, you thinking we in our feelings. No, we ain't in our feelings. What was your intent? You know what I'm saying? Talk. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Say something right. You don't even know the intent. You be having to deal with that yourself at the end of the day. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I said that. Man, y'all air signs gotta chill out for real. Y'all be having other signs thinking y'all got capabilities. Sometimes y'all don't. Making us believe y'all can do something, y'all can't, or whatever the case may be. Y'all make us, especially as fire signs, y'all make us go extreme. Don't be just don't talk too much around me and stuff like that. But for real, like y'all start making me go extreme and stuff like that. And it don't be half of the things that you done made me believe that you done said, and I got to feel bad and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be tripping sometimes. Y'all mouth. I'm saying, but if y'all good at music, man, y'all already best rappers and stuff like that. Y'all say y'all good at all that stuff, all y'all air signs, y'all cold microphone type stuff, Oprah Winfrey's and stuff like that. You know, Jerry Springer's. You know what I'm saying? Y'all good in front of microphones, little Tupac's and Biggie Smalls. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Ain't Lil Wayne a Libra? Ain't T.I. Libra? Yeah, all of y'all good at on words and stuff. Y'all be kind of sliding. Lil Wayne been dissing Jay-Z and everybody for ages. Y'all just don't catch it because he don't be having substance and stuff like that. I be catching it though. I know I'm into hip hop. I be catching it. He do a little slick friendly stuff, but he be throwing all kind of stuff. He was throwing all kind of shots, darts, rocks, stones, sticks at everybody and stuff like that. He just did it in an old like Libra way. You getting cussed out without knowing you get cussed out. You getting bars thrown at you. You get shots thrown at you without you knowing you get shots thrown at you. These guys know how to do that. Like y'all got a peep game. Y'all see, y'all don't be knowing and stuff like that. Y'all, oh, this cat pseudo. This cat try to relate everything to astrology. No, I ain't. You know what I'm saying? But I know what I know. You know what I'm saying? I know how to hear certain stuff. And I know elements. I know fire and fire signs. I know earth signs, air signs, water signs. There's a certain temperament. There's a certain, we all use the same words, but it ain't the what, it's the how. And who gives more importance to what. Every sign and element give more importance to one thing over the other. That the other sign give more importance to over than the other stuff. And you can hear it and stuff like that. And I know when I'm hearing an air sign rapper, Gemini, Aquarius, especially Libras, and I know when they throwing shots at somebody, but it was so slick. It was so like, and Sagittarius is like the Libra fire signs. They know how to do that too. Like Jay-Z was throwing shots. His whole career, he throws shots at everybody. So I think ain't he a Libra moon or something? Whole career, throw shots at everybody and stuff in like such a nice way. You thought he was bigging you up. You know what I'm saying? You be thinking these guys bigging you up. You know what I'm saying? Like Lil Wayne was throwing shots at Birdman for the past 10 years. When he was around Birdman, it sounded like he was bigging him up. Like he was dissing him on. That's rapping like my daddy, like my daddy, dissing Birdman the whole track. You can't really hear it though. You can't really hear it because you think he talking about Birdman being his daddy. The Libras know how to do it. They know how to do it. They know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? But Birdman and Aquarius, he heard it a little bit, and that's why their relationship's where it's at now. He heard it a little bit, like, oh, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? You heard it? Like, y'all air signs ain't that slick. Just because I'm triple fire. I hear it. I know I'm a rapper too. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming for y'all. I'm coming for y'all. I'm going to change that optic. I'm going to change that optic around. It ain't just air signs. It's fire signs too. You know what I'm saying? It's triple fire signs too. It ain't just air signs. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, yay.
As the moon going to Libra, that's the world we're going to be in. But you have to make it look like the sun in Aries. So our forms of relationships and how we relate to others, or how we conduct our networking abilities and things of that nature, right? Make sure you are carving out some form of independence in that area, some form of individuality. You might be around people who ain't got no form of individuality. Let's say if you even in a record business right now, you better start training your artists to have more charisma, aka individuality. Make them start doing things on their own, like build up their world, like build up what they're interested in, and the things that they're interested in. There's always millions of other people that's interested into that also. And this is how a person start separating from having the lack of creativity or writer's block, because you end up being inspired, and that inspiration always has to be filtered through something. And if you already creative, especially if you're making music, you always going to end up finding something to make a song about, because it's like you're finding a connection. It's like you connected to a link. It's a link to something. You know what I'm saying? The best way I could explain this, y'all can even look at the Love Below and the Speaker Box album with Big Boy and Andre 3000. So from the optics, from outside looking in and from the inside looking out, you could kind of tell during this time, Big Boy and Andre 3000 not at the stages as when they was young, and they was more of their entourage. You could kind of see this is going through a time where they're getting older and their entourages is more industry based. So even though they're cool, they might get closer people and family that's kind of more involved into their circle now, but yet them still being a group and having a deal made it be a situation where you could have two solo projects on one or whatever. Yet, still, when it comes into the musical direction, you had Andre 3000, right? That had a certain musical direction that it was kind of like an untapped in energy that people didn't even know how many people will be fans or interested, or a pocket of people having an open ear to that. And Big Boy was still able to kind of switch up, but still relate to the traditional Outcast audience. So, which would made that album so hot in the first place. It's like attacking so many birds at one stone. But my reason of saying this is everybody don't have to be, even if you a group. That's an example of each individual can still have their own world and still click with your group, which makes it even better, because y'all will be in a position where it don't even make sense to break up. A lot of the breakup qualities come from a lot of the espionages in the industry and stuff, and how y'all allow this person and this handler and this amount of money to do this and this allow that to do that, and to separate y'all and stuff like that. But when you're coming in and the whole mission is for everybody to have their own world, it only makes it better when y'all come together and y'all got your own world. You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody's supposed to do, and everybody's supposed to challenge each other to do that, or whatever the case may be. Or it's always going to be some type of situation where one person going to be disgruntled, one person going to have to sit. For an example, let's say we have like artists and budgets. Let's say you have a record label and you got like 4 artists, right? And you got some G-Unit records, or whatever the case may be. It shouldn't be no situation where you have to wait because this person get ready to come out, then the next person in line. All y'all got y'all own worlds. So everybody should be working their world. So these things are separate causes, yet y'all still in the same group. Now, reason why I brought that up, I mean, I know this don't got nothing to do with G-Unit. I'm just using that as an example. Any type of group, Dipset or Terror Squad, however, right? Goody Mob, right? But reason me saying that is because the reason why groups may break up is because of that system that I was just talking about. And a lot of people and their background is not involved in that system. And a lot of people who made that system isn't music makers. So here's where you get what may work on one end may not work in the long run on the creator side end, and the people who are the creators. So for you to survive in that world, you got to utilize tactics that sacrifice the creativity that come with it, the communion that come with it, the kinship that come with it. And all these other things that get invested become the bigger issue, where these things should have been the small issue, should remain small issues. And the main representation that got everybody to that destination in the first place should always remain the main foundation. You know what I'm saying? So everybody got to stay in their creative sweet spot and learn what we're getting involved in. Because it could be things that, yeah, it's sweet in this area, it's sweet in this monetary gain, it's sweet in this bias, it's sweet in this dichotomy. But what got us in that space in the first place, that seed that we planted, that got us grown out as branches and leaves and fruit in those places in the first place, is so often we separate from that. And then we get a dry heart and can never get it again. Then we ain't mad at no one else but ourselves at that point. Then we become toxic to ourselves and everybody around us and everything we have accumulated from that position and things of that nature. And something that was once very good and sweet become very toxic and sour. And let's not let our lives become like that. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Aries Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibility. Erect the spa, help hold that yellow hoop. Massa saw it, mama the toy. Woo, Masasaki. Oh yeah, and on the Patreon, go ahead to Aries through Pisces. I gotta upload them though. They be taking all day to upload.